Why do we need our ears? In everyday life, we use this ability in so many places. From speaking to our beloved ones, to jamming to music, to just listening to people's opinions. We use this ability every day for every part of our lives. Speaking with all of you today, I too am using these skills continuously. So let's start at the base level and inform you about a little bit about hearing health. The safe noise level for sounds is at 85 decibels. Anything louder than that can easily damage your hearing. And anything that is louder, like at construction sites or at concerts, can damage your ear to the extent that your eardrum might burst. So how can you prevent such things? Well, of course, listening to music at a low volume is one of them. And avoiding, such foods like high sugar or salt intake, or eating foods like flax seeds, banana, oranges. Who doesn't like oranges, right? And Dhvanialp has also come with a product called Moringa tea, which helps in strengthening of the hearing. Now that we have learned about ear health, to strengthen our ear health, let us learn a little bit about hygiene. To maintain ear hygiene, we have to clean inside and outside of our ears gently with ears. Don't use a Q-tip. Then when it comes to, spreading awareness about Diwali crackers which have a high decibel volume, Dhvanialp started a social media movement called #Dhoom Dhamaka but no Pataka. It was aimed at promoting paper crackers and reducing the amount of loud noise crackers. Now that we know of our intrinsic dependence on the hearing ability, let us think about what happens to people who lose them at some point of their lives or are simply born without them. Now, we are very dependent on hearing, but what about the deaf community? So, let's see how we can accommodate to their choices and respect their culture. Let's start at the birth level. For early detection of hearing impairment, hearing screening tests are a must. Any newborn that can be prevented with deafness should be, and if so, should be provided with the required speech therapy. Now, once the child has grown up and is still prone to deafness, and let's say he is deaf, we should send him to general schools. It should be preferred that we send them to general schools. Now, if they require a special training school, then that's another option. But it completely depends on the individual, as the proportion of hearing loss is different in every individual. And the deaf community has to be respected in that matter. Now this pattern should also be followed in colleges and universities. Why do you ask? Because when colleges and universities, the person starts to develop their personality. If they are not accepted in society, if the deaf person doesn't feel accepted, doesn't feel welcome as part of a mainstream society, they will not grow up, they won't grow up to be confident individuals. One such example is the Amity Institute of Rehabilitation Sciences, Amity University, Noida, that volunteers with Noida Deaf Society in doing sign language courses over their summer break. How great, right? Now let's come to the further part, which is employment. We have seen a lot of brands like Soda Bottle Opener Wala, a lot of NGOs like Atulya Wala that employ deaf people. Now, there is a theoretical concept that says deaf people are actually really good at their job and sometimes better than us. How can we say that? Well, they have a more better scope of concentration because they are not distracted by loud noise, they are better drivers, and they have better analytic and data configurating abilities. So, that is one thing about deaf employment. When we talk about deaf employment, we have to talk about a safe workplace environment. If suppose there's a deaf employee in your company, you have to respect their space. You have to respect how they like to be communicated with. Suppose you don't know the basics of sign language, simply write down what you want to convey. It's really easy and it doesn't take much time. You should also not cover your mouth, which is really, disrespectful. When we talk about disrespect, shouting is not going to do any good by talking to a deaf person because they can't hear you anyways. So why shout? It's very, very impolite. Now that we have talked about the workplace culture as well as the teenage phase and the early development phase, Let us think why respecting the deaf culture as a hearing individual is necessary. They don't want you to feel sorry for them. They don't want to be seen as medical experiments, which is what we've gained from our research. What we've gained is they simply want to be respected and recognized as part of the deaf community. They want that they're recognized as people who have the same abilities as you. Just one thing is not there and that they can't hear. And that does not in any way affect their working abilities. That is something that has to be respected. And when we create this awareness, we really make a safe environment for them. It really becomes easy for the deaf community as well as the hearing community to coexist. And when we talk about deaf sensitization, all of us should be aware of the words that we can't say. Dumb and mute are some words that are really offensive to the community and have been used as a form of oppression. So please remember that deaf sensitization and deaf culture are an important part, and we as the hearing people have a duty to respect their rights and to respect the community. This is Team Dhvanialp. Thank you for coming to our TED Talk.